Terrific. Well, welcome everyone, commissioners and public, to our today is July 8th meeting. The first thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes or disapprove them. Approve the minutes from June 10th. So do I assume if people had corrections, they got them to Jessica, and if they are of any consequence, we should probably know of them. But if Jessica, any changes we should be aware of?
I got no edits to change,
Okay.
so we're good.
I move we accept the minutes.
Thank you, Carol. Do we have a second?
Jane.
And Jane, okay, the minute approval of June minutes are moved by Carol Caro and seconded by Jane Flanagan. I'll call the roll by people I see on the screen in the order I see you. We'll go with Carol. Carol?
Yes.
Thank you. Teresa?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
And I vote yes also. So the minutes are passed. So we're now going to have public comments on matters not on the agenda. And I'm just going to read a statement so everyone's clear. At the beginning of each Park and Recreation Commission meeting, there's an opportunity for public comment related to any park or recreation topic. These comments should address a topic not included on the agenda or those items on the agenda that do not have public comment included as part of the agenda item. You'll have a maximum of 2 minutes to share your comments. If you do not have the opportunity to speak during the allotted time, please submit your comments in writing to the Park and Recreation Commission at Park and Recreation Commission, all one word, at brooklinema.gov. Okay, thank you. So moving on to the public comment. Before I open it up to the general public, I thought it might be, since we got the letter in plenty of time about Amory Field and the volleyball games on it, I thought it might be, I just have to say, okay, hold on. I thought it would be good to maybe get an update from either Millie or Tim on the situation, the problem, what's being done about it, because it seems like a reasonable request to know what's going on. So Millie or Tim, do you want to tell us about the situation on volleyball games at Amory Park?
Millie, you want to take that just because I know you wrote that
Yeah,
email?
yeah, absolutely. So we've had few concerns recently about groups setting up volleyball at Avery Playground, and we, have been contacted by a few different individuals, mentioning that, and there have been concerns that there are several groups typically playing at the same time. And their concern is that, like, making sure that if they have permit or and then and they would like to see the permit in hand. So based on our rangers kind of active proactive kind of inquiries with the groups, what we've found is that in a lot of the instances, these are just separate groups playing just playing together, as like in a spur of the moment. And based on our parks rules and regulations, when, someone is just like, a group of friends get together and go to the park and play volleyball or any sports, they really don't need a permit. And they need permit if it's an activity, like if it's organized event or a match or something of some sort, like it might be a club or a sorority, like doing some competitive games, and that's when like we ask for folks to get a permit. And because of all these complaints, are, as I mentioned again, like that our rangers have been proactive in actually walking up to these different groups and just kind of doing a friendly inquiry of like what's happening, and and they found out that again, most of the times they're just like, again, groups of friends who got together to play, and just the fact that given that like there is, let's say, like 5 or more than 5 multiple groups playing together, that doesn't necessarily mean that, they know each other. And, there's also been 1 or 2 instances like where, our rangers have found that they're actually like an organized event like volleyball games that's happening. And in those instances, they were, the groups were made aware of the rules and regulations and that they need to provide the permit. So overall, like what we've seen is, these volleyball groups, when they're playing in the field, they're really not interfering with any other activities. And when there have been like other permitted activities, when they've been asked to leave, in our experience, like what we've come across is that like, when they're asked to leave, like they leave, they pack up and leave. So, they're not really interfering with any of the baseball or softball or, again, any other sports or any other users in the park is like what we've seen.
And if I can add to that too, just kind of going off what Millie said at the end, and this is a testament to the Rangers, we've seen an increase over time of official permits being pulled at Amory for this reason. So organized groups that are out there utilizing the facility, we are aware of, and we have those within our system. From what, like Millie said, what we view this is, groups of college kids getting together, throwing up a mitt and enjoying the park. So groups that are needing to pull permits or being told to pull permits are, and more importantly, like Millie said, there's little to no disruption to the actual permitted groups of the field that there is. And when there is, the Rangers or our department have been taking care of it to ask them to leave. So we've had little issues with that.
The letter implied that that was impacting people who were paying for permits playing. So I hope we can document that that's not the case. And I don't know if they're later in the day games when the Rangers aren't there, and also if there's a huge group of people playing volleyball and they claim, I don't know. I just think we have to
Yeah.
be
to
respectful of the people
Right.
who bother to pull permits and pay for those permits. And in these,
Correct.
I just hope.
Yeah, absolutely, Clara. And, again, like our Rangers, ours are typically 7 to 3. But, we have been like working with our team to, in some days, like modifying that and, being there a little bit later to, to monitor like what's happening and, so they can see themselves as well. Like this probably won't happen every day. But we have plans in place in July to monitor, like in a few weeks for 1 day a week or something similar.
Well, I have a question. If someone feels that the volleyball players are interfering with the game, that they have permitted use of the park, is there any guidelines that say this is the part of the field that your permit allows you use of, and they can show that to the volleyball players and say, you can't play over this line, whether it's, 10 feet outside of the third baseline or something like that? Because
Yeah, I'll take that. I think so. No, the answer is no. And I think it's because Amory is such a large space, so we don't necessarily have a defined, outfield wall or anything like that. So it's something we can look into. I'm sure working with parks, that could be something that we implement moving forward. But what I can say, if there's an individual who feels like someone's impeding on it, they call our office, they call the Rangers, and we usually send a group down to try to help with the situation. So, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I'm sure Millie and I can work on to improve that permitting process.
Okay, Carol, you have your hand
Yeah,
raised.
I want to know whether the Rangers are there on Saturdays and Sundays.
They do. We
Okay.
have 2 full-time Rangers, and they're not always only at Avery. We do
Yeah.
have multiple places that they
I know.
but they do take turns to work Saturday and Sundays.
So if somebody is, there's some kind of altercation or upset at Amory Field on a Saturday, is there a phone number that people can call to contact the ranger who's on duty, or how does that all work?
The best way is to email at parks@brooklinema.gov. because like that would be monitored by the rangers, but our main parks line would not be monitored by the rangers over the weekend.
Okay.
But email might be the best. Email, or in fact, like I'd say, Brook Online would be the best way, because like they would, again, like they're not going to be on emails and on Brookline online whole day, but they would monitor that.
Well,
Thanks.
maybe you guys can give us an update if they get more complaints and
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
how it's being handled, because the person seems to imply it happens many times, but so we should just be aware of that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then the next two letters, I think, are really select board issues. So I was not going to invite commissioners to comment on those unless they want to, but I think we don't need to discuss it as a commission. And I guess now we should see if there are other people in the public who would like to make comments of things that aren't on the agenda later.
Great, yeah, so if anybody in the public, looks like we have about a handful of visitors tonight, would like to say something, please raise your hand and we can promote you over.
Jim Carroll is there as a commissioner. I just saw him.
Yep, Jim is here and Lauren is here as well.
Great.
And I'm seeing no hands.
Lauren is also there too as in the,
Right.
Yeah.
I see that now. And Jim just turned his camera on. Hi, Jim.
I was just allowed to turn my camera on.
Oh, okay.
I was
I
being blocked.
apologize,
Jim.
Jim.
I had one question about the Amory Park situation. Did anybody take a picture or a video? I mean, it seems like that's what everybody does now if they're looking to report something. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah, Jim, we were sent some video as part of the concern email, but again, like in that sorry, not video, picture, the picture showed multiple groups. And again, it just because like there's like multiple groups
Sure.
out there playing, what we found is that they might not necessarily know each other, and they might just be there out there and enjoying the park and the open space.
Yeah, no, I was just curious to see if
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Because my daughter used to live in Inwood, New York, and there was a huge park there, and they would have 3 baseball games going on at the same time with outfielders sharing the outfielder with different teams playing and everybody running around, and so it certainly can work. It may not look ideal for everybody, but it's a lot of activity there.
Right. It's a well-loved park, right? Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Thanks. So we're going to go on to the letter of support for the 2025 Brookline Open Space and Recreation Plan. Who wants? Tim, are you going to, or does that Mealy? Which one of you are going to?
Yes, so that letter of support is for the 2025 open space and recreation plan for the town. And Alex had given a really in-depth presentation last week on where it stands. So this letter is essentially the commission providing support and recommendation that essentially is a letter of support for the open space and recreation plan. So the vote is on the letter that was provided to you, Clara, and then you might have like distributed that to the commission.
Did the commission get the letter? I thought I sent it, but I'm sorry, I can't guarantee that I did. I did. Did people get the letter?
Clara, I did have, I think I'm one of the members that did have some questions, and Alex Casey explained to me, or at least, and I'd love the clarification on this. To me, it seems like this is going through the process. They are still looking for feedback and amendments that then will go into the final draft. So even though we're moving, I hope this is my understanding is correct. Even though we're moving it forward, things like that I had said, for example, Dane Park has a vernal pool that supposedly had been verified or whatever, I don't, certified at the time that Dane Park went through its initial cleanup, according to the first president of Dane Park. And so it's a question she raised that I then raised to say, you know, that is not in the plan. Is there, you know, is it missing, or is there something that went gone wrong? Alex very nicely explained that it's not missing, that in fact they are going to look into it because they do believe that is true. And great. So if that makes the final document that solves, addresses that, or if there's another explanation, it also helps to solve that problem too. So I feel like what we're approving is potentially even though it's not called a draft anymore, almost a draft that may have amendments, if that makes sense.
Yes, no, I
Okay.
can see your concern because you'd like that in the report and if you want to vote for the report. So can you pull the letter up on the screen? Do you have it?
Yes, I can pull that up. And, you know, again, this is, the letter specifically says that we are approving, you know, the goals and objectives of the open space and recreation plan here. And, you know, and this is being sent to the Conservation Commission.
Can you make the body of the letter larger?
Yes. Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I like July X.
That's, look, we don't,
I know, I'm just,
It's
We will
gonna be
correct
July
that to have
8th
the
if
right-
we voted today.
sorry.
I think we're just, as Mealy pointed out, we're supporting the goals and objectives, so the details aren't there. So I think that would allow us, if details aren't worked out, and I assume when the final report gets made, we'll get to issue another letter.
That is, thank you, Clara, for that clarification, because that's exactly what I felt like I read out of it, that it was a bigger umbrella term that we were approving, or, you know, the goals and objectives as opposed to the nitty gritty of what's everything that's in there. So I think that to me makes a lot of sense to approve it moving forward. And it seems like I'm not the only person that had some edits to it, if you will. And so from what I got from Alex, and it seems like others will be adding to that, and they'll be looking at each one of those issues.
And the last sentence says, looks forward to continuing its role by working with the Conservation Commission, the town bodies, and
Yes.
and implementing the plan. So if people are comfortable, if you haven't read it, do you want to take 1 minute or 2 minutes just to read it? It is just 2 paragraphs long. Okay, thanks. Mealy, if you can stop sharing it, then we can
Yeah.
see each other again. Thank you. So if people are comfortable with the letter, which I think is very general, it would be nice if we could vote in favor of it and move it forward to the next step. So does anyone want to make that motion to approve the goals and objectives as set forth to date?
So moved.
Oops, yep.
Okay.
I'll
Jim-
second it.
Okay, here we go.
Jim Carroll moved it, and was Jane, did you second it? No.
Was it-
No, it
second-
was Lauren.
Lauren,
Lauren, okay. Moved by Jim Carroll, seconded by Lauren Bernard, and now I will call everyone for their vote. Carol,
Yes,
Teresa,
Yes.
Jane,
yes.
Jim,
Aye.
Lauren,
Yes.
and I vote aye or yes too, so it is unanimous, and we will add today's date, which is the 8th, to replace the X. So, great,
Thank you
that
so
that
much.
is done. Okay, now we have I think Tim is going to discuss with us, which we got copies of, the fee increases for the ice skating rink. It's hard to think about ice skating right now, isn't it?
Kind of feels
Or
nice.
maybe it's nice to think about ice skating right now. So, Tim, do you want to do your presentation?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Claire. thank you, everybody. For everybody in the audience, Tim Davis, Recreation Director for the town of Brookline. Just going to share my screen real quick. All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Excellent. So before I get into it, just a little background that was provided in the memo, which is available in the packet online for anybody listening. Over the past year or so, or this past season, obviously we've been keeping a close eye on all of our facilities and their functions and their output season to season as I come into the office, as my staff, my new staff comes into the office. And as mentioned, and as we're doing here, our sights are turning to next winter and looking at the ice skating rink. And what we are here today to do is to discuss a slight fee proposal of increasing the user fees and rental fees of the rink. And the reason we're doing that is unfortunately pretty simple, and that the last 3 years of operating, we've ended each season at a pretty substantial deficit in the red when it comes to our expenses that are attached to the rink. As mentioned in the memo I sent back into, it's been 6 figures in the red for FY23 and 24. And we've made some headwinds this past season, but still at the end of this current fiscal year where we ended the season, we were in the red about $75,000. So anytime there, just for information, anytime there is a deficit, that money is made up out of the recreation revolving account of retained earnings. And as much as we are happy we have the money, we recognize that it's not a sustainable source to consistently and constantly be covering the expenses or the overages at such a high level. So meeting with my team related to the rink, which is Aaron Friedman, our assistant director, Josh Cook, our facilities manager, who's the facilities manager specific to the ice rink, and then Jerry Kelly, our business manager. We've been meeting for the last few months to discuss small fee increases to help get closer to a break-even point. By no mean of anything we do with our facilities or our programs are we looking to make, millions of dollars and huge profits. Our goal with programming and facilities and everything we offer is strictly to break even so that we're covering our costs. So the increases that you're seeing tonight and that were presented to you is with that in mind. We don't expect this to get us to net zero, but with the hopefully incremental increases as we work through the years together with the community and with you all, we'll get closer to that operationally. So with that said, kind of jumping right into it. As mentioned, we did some comparables when it came to rinks in the areas, and these are the rinks that we noted when it came to what we believed were the most comparable facilities. There's some that are not on there that may be top of your minds. I'll talk about some of those in a bit. But we looked at the Kelly Outdoor Rink in Jamaica Plain, Daly and Newton, the Riley Memorial right around the corner in Brighton, the Roach Rink in West Roxbury, and then the Burns Rink in Arlington. When it came to the price point of private rentals and public skates, these were aligned most with what we're doing here in Brookline. Some of the bigger ones, such as Warrior Ice Arena, as well as the Frog Pond in Boston. When we looked at those for private rentals and for public skate rentals, those were far beyond what we are charging. So to try to get in line with them would have been a bit too drastic. We're talking about, Frog Pond being $2,000 for a private rental compared to the $300 that we're doing. So pretty significant and really comparing apples to oranges there. So we left that off the list. And same with Warrior. While it's a little closer, is around $500 to $600 for a private rental. That space in that facility is just not what we can present. Obviously, driving by it, I'm sure on the Pike you see it with the ice arena. So this is just a snapshot again of what we're using to compare. And I'll just run down through them. I know you can read them, but for anybody listening at home. Right now, the recreation department is charging $300 for a private rental for a resident, and then we're charging $400 for a non-resident. When we look at the other rinks in town, Jamaica Plain, they do not sell private rentals, so we can't compare there. Newton does it by the minute, so $5.50 a minute. In Brighton, it's $225 for a 50-minute rental. West Roxbury 250 to 325, dependent on time, and then Arlington 300. So still comparable where we are now compared to everybody around us. Public skates, same thing. Everything averages from $4 up to $8. We're currently at $5 for a resident rate for a drop-in skate. And then season passes, which we currently do not have, but we're looking to implement, which we'll get into in a second. All but daily, none of them offer those. So this is something that we're looking to implement. So when I talked about my memo comparisons, this is what I was talking about. So starting with public skate, you'll see it going straight down the list, the current FY25 costs. And I will note that we have not raised fees in about 5 years. So these are from 2020 is my understanding. So for resident rates for kids, $5, adults $7. And then we do have our non-resident rates, kids $7 and adults $9 with additional rentals. We're only looking up to go up on these $1 across the board. And you know, again, small incremental. We're not looking to make boatloads of money. As always, we want to keep this as accessible as possible to the public to come and enjoy the facility. But raising it just these small rates based on the FY25 numbers that we saw coming through the gate, this will help us about $15,000 in revenue to get put towards that number. So again, on paper, small with $1, but could have a pretty substantial impact. And if we get a winter like we did last year and everything, you know, works as we want with the cold weather, hopefully that number will go up as well. Moving towards the rentals, these are private rentals for youth groups as well as just private residents and non-residents who want to utilize our rink for whatever they may. These could be for outside hockey groups to come in for time. This could be for a family gathering, a birthday party, or just something fun that families do that we see for family reunions and just annual rentals that they do. Listing straight down, you'll see them. And then the costs, and I know I do want to discuss the resident and non-resident as of right now. We have no increases there as it's still a high rate, but I know there's some feedback from some of the commissioners about looking at that to go up again, kind of incrementally. With Brookline Youth Hockey, they do get a special rate of $150, so half off. We're looking to put that up slightly to $175. And then we're looking to implement, I guess you could call it surge pricing. So one of our, you know, we do rent out the rink during vacation weeks. Our schedule for vacation weeks stay relatively the same. Friday nights, Saturdays, weekend rentals. I'm looking to put a small amount on there for our most high demand days that usually have a wait list of individuals looking to rent the rink. So trying to capitalize on demand on that one. And then we are implementing an additional rental package for birthday parties, something that we've never formalized, but something as a father to young kids and many of my individual colleagues here with young kids, we know the advantage of being able to walk into a facility, especially like ours, and have a package that you can rent out so that our staff can assist with celebrating somebody within your party's birthday. And what that would do would provide 50 minutes of ice time, so a regular sheet of ice with rentals. And then one of these side rooms would be, separated off so that the party could then come in, have their own space, do cake, do presents, do whatever they may need, and then leave. And then our staff will be responsible for cleanup and everything like that. Something that we see everywhere else with, you know, urban airs and trampoline parks and everything around the city and around the town. I'm looking to kind of get into that. And that would only be reserved for Sundays as a package. So this isn't something that we'd be looking to do across any single day. We want to make sure that, you know, this time slot is reserved specifically for Sundays to drive that demand in hopes to help fill those spots and cause an additional service. And then lastly, season passes. This again is something that we currently do not do. It's something we're looking to implement to, you know, have another, I think, steady revenue stream, but also try to encourage return customers. And if they're returning to the rink, then, you know, hopefully they're spending money on rentals, on concessions, on any additionals when they're there. But, you know, retaining customers creating repeat customers, but again, having this revenue stream that is something that we can plan for and that we can rely on as we go throughout the year. So looking at an adult resident rate for a season pass at $100, a reduced rate for adults, so that's seniors, veterans, individuals like that, and children at 80, and then also inviting the non-residents for season passes at 120 and 100. So again, a higher cost for our non-residents, and then punch cards as well. So if you don't think that you're gonna, be using the rink more than a certain amount, you're welcome to purchase punch cards. So we have 10 punch cards for residents and non-residents at the pricing listed. So 70 and 50 for adults and children, and then those non-residents being 90 and 70. So really the intention here is to diversify the revenue streams that are coming in and not being completely reliant on our daily visitors as well as our rentals. So giving extra hopeful revenue streams, as I just said many times, to the rink to plan for, but also looking at what we have. And as mentioned, we haven't raised it in 5 years, looking to, small incremental as we work towards a new rink and as we work towards trying to be more fiscally responsible down there. So that's all I had.
Thanks, Tim. Can you go back to the when you rent the whole rink? And because I'm a little unclear on, you have private, non-residents, privates 400, and what's?
So the prime private.
Yeah, so that then you have prime private rentals.
So currently, so this is that surge pricing that we were talking about. So looking at Friday nights and Saturdays, kind of the prime days that we see our most demand.
Okay.
So 300 is the resident, 400 is the non-resident. Currently, we're looking to go to a 325, which is $25 over the proposed increase of just a normal rental, and then 425, which is $25 over just the normal increase for a private rental of a non-resident.
So would that be Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday? Or are you just saying Friday night and Saturday?
From what my team was showing me, it'd be Fridays, Saturdays, and vacation weeks.
Okay. Lauren has her hand up. Go ahead, Lauren.
Thanks. So dovetailing on what Clara said, Tim, thank you for this presentation. It's very clear and very necessary. Thank you for addressing the deficit issue. So I'm assuming in what Clara was saying, you're not going to do private rentals on Sunday because you're leaving that for birthday parties, right?
So we're still going to do private rentals, but when someone would log in online to reserve that space, they would have the option to toggle off if they want that package on
I see.
their rental.
The birthday,
If they
okay.
do, it would trigger that price.
Got it.
So it'd be a normal block of time that anybody can reserve. We're just giving the add-on to anybody who's interested.
So that was my question. What again is the block of time for private rentals?
So usual private rentals, 50 minutes.
50?
Yep. The birthday party would get you 90.
I get
So
it.
get you
Okay.
50 minutes on the ice and then 40 in the room.
So not to add a complicating factor, but I'm a lot more familiar with the school department's facility rentals.
Mhm.
And what they they don't distinguish between resident and non-resident. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But one added criteria that they have is whether the organization is a for-profit or not-for-profit group. I don't know if that's something you're interested in exploring, but they, for example, a nonprofit can rent. I mean, I'm just thinking of spaces that I have to rent, but there's substantial differences between, that. I don't know if that's something you guys want to think about. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I think it's a great thought. My initial reaction is that maybe not right now, just because the intention of this is to
Right, it's
build back what we're losing. But
right.
down
exactly.
the line, hopefully when we have a brand new rink and a brand new offering,
Mhm.
I think it's something we could definitely talk about.
And second, I have so you're saying Brookline Youth Hockey, they get a reduced rate, and is that why is their rate so dramatically lower? So much, it's dramatically lower.
That's been
Is
an
it both?
agreement that we've had with them for quite some time, just to make sure that they have a home base with us, and that, again, you know, by us being able to keep the cost down for a resident youth group, you know, that those fees are passed on to the kids that are playing. So if we're able to keep it low, that helps them keep it low. So
And my last question, I feel I'm almost afraid to ask it, and it may be just something I missed in the, you know, I don't know, for some reason. How, what are we renting chillers again this year? My understanding is last year was the last time we were renting chillers. Like, what are we doing
yeah,
to
we're going to be
open the
doing
rink?
a 1-year contract because we recognize that we're not going to be breaking ground at all this coming winter.
Right,
So
that's
right
what I
now
think.
we're on a 1-year contract with the chance
1
to
year.
bring them back. Yep.
Okay, you may have mentioned at the last meeting, and I may have just missed it.
Yeah.
But this is good. So is the objective to try to, you know, hopefully break even this year?
I think we all agree we're not going to break even. I think our objective is to work with the community incrementally, so that, you know, come 4 or 5 years down the line, yes, we will be, you know, breaking even.
So the increases are not a huge shock.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Tim, the prime rentals, I'd be more comfortable with if it was Friday night, Saturday and Sunday, you know, just make it the weekend
Okay.
completely. I don't know. You know, someone wants to have a ice skating party Monday afternoon or Monday night or whenever, they can do it for $25 less.
And I have a question dovetailing off that. If you have the private rentals, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that is when the public skate is. So is there a limited time period for the private rentals and still going to be public skate in between? Okay.
Yep.
Is-
The blocks stay for those
the time-
50-minute sheets, and
Right.
then, yep, public skate. We're not losing any public skate time with this.
Not losing that, okay. I'm wondering why anybody would buy the 10 pass or the season pass if they're all private rentals.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure
No,
there's
no.
time for that, so that's good,
Yeah.
thank you.
And there'll be actually additional public skates being added as well this
Okay.
year. So
So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
Tim, just to repeat, so this coming year, there will be more time blocks for public skating than the previous years. Then
Correct.
there'll be the same time blocks plus more. Is that
correct.
correct?
That's our intention right now. I plan to bring that schedule to you, hopefully next month, actually.
Oh,
I know
great.
Josh is tweaking a few things, but yeah, we're looking to add specifically weekday time for evening public skate, because right now it's pretty much limited to Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So like after work time
Right.
or after
exactly.
school time.
After school time. Yep.
Right. That's great. That's good news.
Very good.
Teresa has her hands raised. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just quick clarification on the difference between the prime private rental. If you wanted your birthday party on Saturday, for example,
Mhm.
what is the $75 extra amount getting you differently?
So it's getting you, so instead of a 50-minute rental, it's giving you a 90-minute rental.
Okay.
Because it would give you indoor space after your skate time. So you would have 50 minutes on the ice, come out, Zamboni would do its thing, everybody would come in, and then one of the side rooms would be quarantined off, so that you would have exclusive access to that. We'd provide tables, as we've been talking inside our building, you know, the tables, chairs, tablecloths, plates, cups, all the things, as
Oh,
well
okay.
as a staff member to assist. So
Okay. And that are ice skating rentals, ice skate rentals in addition to that cost then if you're participating?
it's included up to 10, I believe Josh has it as.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, any additional would just be the standard rate.
Okay. All right.
And that's for any of the private, when you rent the rink privately, whether it's your resident, non-residents, prime, or Sunday birthday, you get 10 skate rentals within
Rent-
that price.
Rentals for privates. So for that, if you come in, you pay $400, rentals are included with your group.
Say that again, if you come in and rent the whole rink.
If you rent a private rental for the 50 minutes, rentals
Yeah.
are included, I believe. I can double check that, but I'm almost certain that rentals are included.
Well, did you say 10 rentals? What were you?
That's for the
referring to?
birthday party. The specific birthday party package.
And why wouldn't you get as many free, and in fact, you're getting less than, I mean, you are getting that space, but you're getting fewer skate rentals, so shouldn't it be the same? Plus the additional
Yeah.
$75 for
Let me confirm that. Let me just confirm that with the private rentals to be certain, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna report back on that, because I would agree. As I'm saying this out loud, I would agree.
Okay, and so you're not asking for a vote. We usually get it presented one meeting and vote the next, so we're not gonna be voting this meeting, correct?
Correct. And I have a couple notes for follow-ups that I'll send in between. But
Okay.
yeah, I would be looking for a vote in August.
Do any other commissioners? Oh, Teresa, you have a hand up. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just have one more suggestion, or one suggestion
Mhm.
is that in the event that we implement these changes, it would be really helpful to have it explained on the website. I think what's there right now for private rentals is very bare bones. As somebody who booked a private birthday party there last year, it was very unclear what exactly you were getting for that $300. So to whatever extent we can spell out Sunday birthday party special and the private prime rentals and whatnot on the site, I think would be really helpful for people looking to book that.
And I would like to just dovetail off Teresa's comment and the comment that Clara made about the skates. The skates are included, are the helmets included for those parties?
They would be, yes.
They would be, okay. So clarifying that would be helpful too.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
Okay, and then Jim has his hand raised, and then Carol. So Jim, you go, and then Carol.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Tim, for this information that you've given us tonight. For me, it's very sobering to think in the future when we're, sort of parsing these dollars here just to lessen our deficits there. And I'm thinking about, the funding of a brand new open air skating rink. It's just very sobering for me. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thanks, Jim. Carol, go ahead.
I have a question. Do you offer skating lessons at the ice rink?
Yep, we have a vendor that comes in, Bay State Skating School, and they offer lessons for the community. You can sign up through them and they utilize our rink. Yes.
So I mean, if this is just an individual who wants skating lessons, they would do it through this Bay State?
Correct, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Is there a link? Having never looked on the web saying?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Any other comments, commissioners? Okay. Thank you. And thanks, Tim. That was really clear. Thank you. Okay, the next is discussion on recreation adopting Brookline adult and community education. I think this is Tim also.
Me again. Yeah. So I don't have any formal presentation on this yet, but I wanted to bring this up because I know we've been referring to it the last couple months. So I just want to give just a quick overview and a quick update on where we are. So the part of the unfortunate cuts of the school department over the last couple months as we went through the budget cycle, Brookline Adult Education and Community Programming was cut. And what's going to happen is that program that offers programs to adults as well as children throughout the year, just a different type of program than the recreation department does, will be ending in August. And once that happened, we reached out to the school committee proactively, and they did as well, and specifically to Brookline Adult Ed Base, as we refer to them, to see if there was an opportunity that the rec department could merge. And I know, Lauren, you're in that one of those initial meetings, that we could merge in basis programming underneath the rec department. That was found favorable, obviously, I think, with the school committee to be able to continue the great programs and services that Adult Ed have been doing. These are programs that are kind of outside, I won't say outside our wheelhouse, but traditionally not something we've done. Photography classes, ceramics classes, cooking classes, language arts, music extension, music lessons, programming that we've always had a handshake with the school committee and the school department, that knowing that department of Brookline Adult Ed takes care of. I can even think back to when I first started here 12 years ago, knowing that handshake that we had with them. There was kind of a fine line of programming that we did, knowing that the rest of it they were going to do. So two parts to this. One, the idea of being able to bring that in-house and save that program, and also recreation be the kind of one-stop shop for all things programming, was very attractive to us. Is very exciting to us. I think it you know, the idea that we could finally program out these type of offerings was very exciting to our entire team here in the department. But what really gave us pause, if I'm being, you know, honest, was that in order for these programs to be successful, we needed access to space. We needed the access to these ceramic studios, these pottery studios, the home ec classrooms, the woodworking shops, the photography studios, expanded classroom space in all of the elementary and middle schools across town, not just the high school, in order to ensure that these programs that we are taking on continue properly in the proper spaces, and that we are not fighting for space to make sure these progress. So where we sit now is that there is a MOU that's being drafted, and that's currently on the table between the Recreation Department and the school committee, as it refers specifically to adult education and community programs coming over to recreation. We've been working on that for a couple months now, and we are very close to the final finish line. I was hopeful I was going to have it done for this meeting, but most likely next. And what this MOU spells out for us is access to space, as we talked about, custodial services, who's responsible for what, cost of rental spaces, if any. Luckily, at this point, there are not any proposed for us to move into the schools and do these programs. Financial controls, registrations, kind of soup to nuts what it would look like if the Recreation Department were to take this on. And it's modeled pretty much after everything we do. So right now, on Thursday, we have our next meeting with the school committee representative, as well as some of the individuals with Brookline Adult Ed to go over the next draft of the MOU. But we are very confident and we were very excited that this is probably going to get done in the next couple of weeks, and then we can start, you know, welcoming that program suite into our, you know, into our family of programs at the rec department. Work with our staff to get those up and running, and then also we will be onboarding another full timer to make sure to ensure that these programs are given that attention that they need, and we'll get moving on that pretty quick. So. It's a very much, there's a lot of hands in the pot right now, but as mentioned, it's something we're very excited about at the opportunity here to grow further here at the department, and you know, help save a incredible program and keep it in town. So that's just the general update of where we're at, and as things progress, most likely we will progress before our next meeting. I'll be sure to email you all with updates, and I'm sure we can discuss more in August. Lauren.
Thanks, Tim. Go ahead.
I just want to say, yes, I was part of some of these initial conversations, and I want to commend Tim and his team for jumping into something that was, you know, a bit hairy, you know, when you know, just it was a budget cut, and, you know, trying not just to save a program, but to better the recreation department, and to view this with so much positivity. I can think of a lot of people who would have said, oh my God, not one more thing for me to deal with, to worry about. And instead, Tim and his team jumped into this with both feet and both hands. And I want to commend you for that, because you've turned what could have been a very negative and stressful situation into something that's positive. And I'm thrilled to hear that you're all excited about it. And really, I mean, just top-notch work
Thank
at a
you.
very busy time. I recognize that. So thank you.
Makes the days go by quick.
So Tim, I have one question though. Is the goal of the Recreation Department to have the courses you offer and what you charge balance out so it pays for your one new employee, and you don't need anything out of the revolving fund to keep it afloat? Is that
Exactly. Yep. Our plan, and we've communicated this to the school department, is to fit the program offering into our model of what programs we think will be successful based on the information that we've been given from the school department, and prioritize certain things. And our goal, as everything out here, is to make sure we're just covering our costs. Again, we're not looking to make a ton of money. We just want to make sure that the programs stay accessible and available, and that we are, you know, operationally sound when it comes to that wing of the department.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments? I saw a few
I have
thumbs
another
up.
comment. I was just
Okay.
wondering, in terms of analyzing your costs, Tim, what do you carry for overhead? I mean, I'm thinking about woodworking. I mean, there's got to be some, insurance issues there that might be pretty expensive. So I'm just figuring you're calculating that and everything.
Right, yeah, and the thing that's going to shift, which will be, I think, a curve for a lot of people is when it came, not to get too far in the weeds, but when it came to adult ed, all of their classes across the board, everybody who was an instructor, they brought in as an employee. So all the instructors were covered by the town's insurance or the school's insurance for everything that they did. What we're planning to do is maintain and retain some of those employees, but also implement our vendor agreements that we've already kind of in the works in the background of, so that the insurance and the liability falls as much on the vendor as it would any other program that we have in with the soccer programs or sports programs or Lego programs that we do, kind of taking that liability off of the town to kind of be, a little safer there. So the model's going to change, but that's what we're seeing of that. That's where we think we're going to be successful of bringing it to our house. But, overhead wise, just off the bat, bringing in an employee, we're looking at 70, 80 grand for that full-time employee. So right off the bat, that's our baseline. And it's, the goal is to only go up from there based on everything.
Yeah. Well, kudos for your efforts. I mean, I think it's really fantastic that you're really working hard to make this happen and keep that program going.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Tim. Lauren, you have your hand up again.
Yeah, Tim, just a clarification. So you're saying Base had these people as W-2 employees, not as 1099s?
That's my understanding. I don't want to speak out of turn, but that's our limited.
Really? I'm surprised. Okay.
Okay, seeing no other questions, but Tim, thanks. I mean, it's a great program and it's wonderful that the town's not losing it.
Yeah.
So, and we get to hear from you again, because the next item agenda, we are a little ahead of time, is the Recreation Department update. You can give us that and then you can take a break.
All right, cool. All right. Next one, share. There we go. Lauren, did you have a question or did you just leave your hand up? You're just waving. Hello.
Sorry, I'm really bad at this lowering
That's okay.
hand thing. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. A lot of the big things that, are update worthy, we just spoke about, so this will be relatively quick. As you can imagine, a lot going on in the rec department right now. Summer has kicked off officially for us 2 weeks ago. But as of this week, all 4 of our day camps are running, both of our nature camps are running, and all of our vendor programs are off and running. So we're at full tilt. We're about 500 to 600 kids a week that we're seeing right now, which is wonderful. So Andrew, who you heard from a couple months ago, Autumn, Cadence, our new employee, they're running around keeping their days busy. But just a general update, as we always start with staffing, fingers crossed, knock on wood, we're fully staffed. So we just hired our final staff member, our recreation custodian. They will be starting at the end of August. So as of right now, we have no vacancies, which is wonderful. And I'm going to stop talking about it now so we don't jinx it. So we'll go to the next slide. The biggest announcement that's going to be coming out of our department, probably actually this week, is that the recreation department is changing registration vendors when it comes to our software. And I can see Lauren's very happy about that. This has been the main thing that's been on my desk since I started here, collecting feedback and hearing feedback about our registration software, kind of how clunky it is, how unuser friendly it is, both on the management side as well as the public side. So over the last year, our entire department, this has been a complete group effort, has been interviewing and working with other vendors around the country to see what is going to fit best. And what we came up with and what we found was Kaizen. This is a new program. This is a newer program that is more popular out west and is slowly making its way to the East Coast. And it really comes down to the look of it, the feel of it, the usability of it, and the access to it. So just a couple things on your screen right now. It's cleaner. It's not as clunky. It's easier to navigate. On your phone, it looks gorgeous. It just went live today, fun fact. So everyone's been looking at it just to kind of work out the kinks, but it views naturally on your phone. But it's a single sign-on service, which is actually, I think they're the only one right now when it comes to registration software specific to Parks and Recreation. And what that means is that when you go to create an account, you can just link your Google account, or you go to create an account, you can link your Apple account. And in turn, that means when you go check out for a program, you can use Apple Pay, you can use Google Pay, or you can use any stored method of payment. So from the user experience to the management experience, what we're going to be able to present is a much cleaner offering, something that is easier to navigate. I look forward next month, I'm planning to do kind of a demo to just kind of illustrate this for you all to see. But it's going to be all encompassing. So we're going to be rolling out program registration this summer, actually this week, starting with Brookline Day registration for vendors. And then fall programming will be done here as well. We don't want to rush it, so facility rentals are going to be implemented next year. So we're going to still retain our current software for facilities, which is fine. Facilities is not something, for the most part, that the public can go on its own and rent a field or a ball field or something like that. It's more of an internal process. But the experience is what we're very excited to put forward, the accessible experience for the community. So we're excited to launch that this week. You guys are the first ones to hear about it. I think we'll do a press release either tomorrow or Thursday. And the first program, again, Brookline Day, will be up and running. So our team here is very, very excited. And we hope the community benefits from it as well. Construction update, very excited. 2 weeks ago, we broke ground at Sewell for the courtyard. So as you can see, it looks a little differently. So demolition is complete. All the old concrete and structures have been removed. The drainage and stormwater utilities were actually lowered in today. So our civil engineer will be out tomorrow to inspect those to make sure everything looks okay. And then all the concrete pouring and footings and formings are going to be taking place in the next couple of weeks. So we are very much on schedule, which is great. We're actually ahead of schedule. The contractor came in as soon as they got the okay from the select board, fenced off that area and got to work. So, we're doing the fun stuff right now with picking colors and whatnot with the surfacing and the shade sails and whatnot. But it is moving and we're really, really excited about that. So, we only rent, you dig in an old building and never know what you're going to find. There were some interesting things of the structure that we uncovered, but just a shout out to the building department in town. We gave them a call right away because it had to do with the structure itself underneath the building with the footings and whatnot and the trim underground. They came in within an hour. Their team was there within 2, and they were making the adjustments they need, and they kept us on schedule. So really a team effort right now across the town, and we're excited to see this thing plow through pretty quick.
Tim, can you remind us who won the contract to construction
Yep.
and the cost?
Perez Landscaping.
Say the name again.
Perez Landscaping
Okay.
won the bid. It was $347,000
Okay.
was the cost for it. And that was 150,000 CIP funds given from the town. And then the rest of the project we were able to cover with a grant, which was great. Further on CIP projects, just because the fiscal year has flipped officially, we have bids going out for the drainage project of the golf course in the next couple weeks, as well as Putterham Woods for that trail system that Justin was here last month going over. So that will go out in July as well. And then we did have a kickoff meeting today for the renovation of our building that I'm sitting in right now. That was granted to us through the CIP plan. So we're jumping on those as quick as possible to get those moving, as we are eager, especially the golf course being eager. For the golf course, we are putting out the bids now with work to commence to mobilize in October and commence in November. So we're looking for early fall into the winter work to get that done, so it's not disrupting the play season. So excited to see all those come to life. Couple updates on some events that we had. We did have the Juneteenth event that we worked hand in hand with Brookline for the Culture, which was the group that the town brought on for that. It was a very hot day, as Juneteenth for the last 4 years has been, but that's okay. Great turnout, great energy, beautiful day. It was hot, but it was a beautiful day. And so just a shout out to Brookline for the Culture for another excellent event. And a thank you for letting the Recreation Department be a part of it and help them along in planning Outside of that, Millie and her team at the Parks and Open Space Department did a tremendous amount of work day of and leading up, as well as just Public Works in general, and DPW, water, everybody. So another successful Juneteenth event. We have our postmortem meeting this week, and then we'll probably start planning for the next one in a couple months. So hats off to everybody that was involved there.
It
Couple
had
things
some
that-
of the best bouncy structures, and they included water.
Yeah, much needed, much needed.
Yes, so.
So, a couple things going on at the golf course, just some events to put on your radar. We've been putting an initiative going through out of requests and just an added benefit up at the range for a fitting day. So if you're in the market for new clubs, Jim, and you want to get down there and fitted, we have that coming up on Friday. And then every Friday for the summer, there's live music out on the patio. So if you want to come enjoy a drink or a meal, we'll have some light music live every Friday throughout the summer. Just a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere out there on the 18th hole. Speaking of concerts, our suit got a little messed up format, but our summer concerts kick off tomorrow. We have our first one at Fisher Hill. And this year, what's new to this year is that we are going to be flip-flopping locations. So years and years and years ago, we did the concerts at Emerson Gardens, Emerson Park. That park went under construction, so we moved it off the Fisher Hill. Wonderful site, obviously, Fisher Hill up there by the field with those facilities, but some of the feedback that we heard was it's not necessarily the most accessible. So we're going to split it. So we're doing 2 up at Fisher Hill this year, and then we're bringing 2 back to the neighborhood around Emerson. So we're excited to bring those back and get those going. And the weather looks like it's going to clear out tomorrow, so our first one should be good. Lauren, did you have a question?
Yes, this time I intentionally raised my hand. Going back to your slide on the golf course concerts,
Mhm.
I just want to say, like, I've seen ads around Coolidge Corner for the movies and the concerts in the park.
Mhm.
I haven't seen a single thing in North Brookline advertising this. I don't think anybody knows about it. It's lovely. It's a lovely idea, but I feel like there's just not enough visibility about it. And I don't know. We have those what are they called? They're not
Sufas?
electric.
Sufa
Those,
boards?
pardon me?
The Sufa boards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it on there. I've seen the other one, they
Okay.
they rotate, but I haven't seen that. I just wanted to tell you, it might be a good idea to put it on there because
Great
I
feedback.
think, it sounds like a lovely evening, the time is right,
Mhm.
see a nice sunset a little bit, later and all that. I think, and it gives good visibility to the restaurant at the golf course.
Mhm.
And eventually, what we've talked about as a commission, making the golf course more, something for people other than just golfers, right? So I feel like this is something that should just get more visibility. It's just an FYI.
No,
Like,
it's
I
great.
didn't even know about
That's
it.
great feedback. Thank you. Carol.
Yeah, I have a question. I somehow have a list of that the rec department is doing concerts at Cypress Park.
Cypress, no. Where'd you get that list?
Well, it was on the website,
Okay,
and I called, and because I published it in the Brookline KN newsletter, and I asked if the rec department was doing both of those concert series, and they said yes.
okay. Yeah, I remember you emailed that. I will double check that information, but no, I can confirm that it's at Fisher Hill, as well as
But
Emerson.
what are the concerts at Cypress Field then?
That I do not know. I'm not sure on
Six
that.
of them, 6 of them. Okay, I'll send you the list.
All right, please do. Please do.
Or, well, maybe if you get the Brookline Can newsletter, you can check it
Okay,
there.
cool.
Yeah.
Jane.
Tim, first of all, I just want to say, amazing all the things that you're doing. It's just like, it feels like problem, you fix it, problem, you fix it. So I just want to congratulate you on that. It's just incredible to have no vacancies as well. So congratulations on that. I do want to echo what Lauren said. I live near here. I'm in South Brookline, and I don't see these summer sessions at the concerts.
Okay.
And I don't know how those would get out to people. I also hear a lot from people in this area, like actually not just this area, I actually hear from all over Brookline. They don't really know when the restaurants open, when they can actually go there. someone said to me, oh, you must go to the brunch all the time. And I'm like, I didn't even know they did a brunch. So I do think the restaurant needs to maybe, because it's such a beautiful spot. And it is such a selling point. And in the winter, it has the fireplace. I mean, it has so much potential, but I do consistently hear that it doesn't seem to live up to its potential. And the hours aren't out there in front so that you'd know, oh, it's open these hours. It's really kind of, to Lauren's point, the golfers might know that, but not everybody else knows that.
Got
And I know Justin and you are both working together to do so many things, and I appreciate all that, but I just want to kind of echo that
Yeah.
sentiment. So thank you.
No, great. Again, great feedback. Thank you. Summer concerts, and there's one more, save the date. I think we talked about it. Brookline Day is officially scheduled September 14th down at Coolidge Corner. You'll start seeing banners pop up. You'll start seeing yard signs pop up all around town and probably the coming weeks. And I'm happy to say that Brookline Bank has agreed once again to be the presenting sponsor and provide funding for that to help us put on such an event. So Cadence, who's our new employee, is diving in headfirst on all things Brookline Day and doing very well. So we got a lot of changes coming in for this year that we're excited to talk about in probably the coming months. But mark your calendars. We hope to see you there in the sunshine with no rain. But that's all I had. I'll stop talking.
Thank you, Tim. Now, Neely, we've been waiting for you. So now it's your turn. Thank you.
Hello, Tim, like you are on a great role there. Let me share my screen. Okay, so today's update for Parks and Open Space Division will be fairly short and sweet. First of all, I'm very, very, very excited to share that we have our urban forestry manager after months of search, and Jack Schliffer, who comes from our partner organization at the Emerald Necklace Conservancy, like he is going to be starting next Monday. So we're all super excited and making a lot of plans to onboard him next week. Unfortunately, unlike in Tim's case, like we still do have one position open. We've been, again, like working very hard to find our forestry zone manager, but we're finding that is such a niche position that we're just having a hard time getting someone on board, but the search will go on. So I have a few updates that I want to share with everyone. First of all, on parklets, I had mentioned a few months back that we have our parklets under construction starting soon. So it is all installed in there. So if you're in the area around Lawton Street or Harvard Street, around the Coolidge Corner area, please go ahead and enjoy the spaces. And a few construction and design review updates. First off, Monmouth Playground Phase 1, and I realized that I didn't update the picture, so this is not what it looks like right now. When I upload this in the website, I'll make sure that I have the current picture for the playground, but the playground installation is complete. And the poured-in-place rubber surfacing, which is not shown in this picture, is installed and it's open for public use now. And we're, again, like the fencing, all the fencing is out as well. And similar to that, very excited again that at Schick Park, the mobilization started yesterday, and the park will remain closed through summer and fall. And, you know, next month, in the coming months, I'll continue to provide more additional updates. And Amory Playground, again, the timeline is for the construction to start mid-July. So we're really excited about that and waiting for the construction mobilization to start. And a few other project updates. We have Monmouth Park Phase 2 and Skyline Skyline Park under documentation right now, and we hope to bid both the projects out in winter with a goal to start in spring. And the project in design phase, like our Griggs Park, our DRC meeting 2 was held on June 25th. Again, like a really robust community participation there, like great feedback from the community. And we're also working really hard to onboard our consultant engineer on board. Like we're just like working through the contracts right now. And once they're on board, we're, again, like hopeful to have like additional collaboration to inform our design and design processes. And the next meeting currently is scheduled for September 4th. And events, I don't have a lot of events right now, except to say that we do have our Stewardship Sundays ongoing right now in collaboration with the Sustainability and Natural Resources Division. So please look out for that and, continue through November. And that's it for me. Any questions so far?
I have two questions on Monmouth Park, which is complete. You, at least in that picture, you can see that some areas need more grass and seeding,
Yes.
So will they come, I mean, now it's not a good time to seed.
Yes, and we would likely go back and do a little bit of seeding and in later in fall, or we could like try something in summer and like try again in fall again. But we just want to be cognizant of the fact that like in early spring next year, it's all gonna go under construction again. But like in the interim, like we will try to, at least receive that.
So you think phase 2 will be starting in the spring of next year and
Exactly.
impact that lawn?
That's the
So,
plan.
okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know. And then my other question about Amory is, have they included the Amory Woods where I think you got
Right. So Amory Woods was a CPA grant, and
Yes.
that was currently not part of the current bid. So most likely, we're working to figure out that right now, like if that could be an extra or work order as part of this project, or it needs to be a separate bid. So we're working through purchasing, division on that.
Oh, I hope it can be part of this contract. I think that was one of its selling points to get the
Yeah.
money. So I hope,
Yeah.
hopefully that will work. Okay, Lauren?
Yes. Hi, Millie. Hi.
Hi.
Great presentation. I just wanted to say kind of the same thing I said to Tim. The parklets, they're adorable. I've visited all of them.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, but you know what? Nobody knows that they're public space.
Okay.
The one outside of on Harvard Street south of Beacon, I forget what's right there. The salon, right? I mean, I sat down and then I thought, oh no, I'm in some restaurant space. And then I said, wait a minute, no, this is Parklet. But it was only because I was commissioner. But I think people, they're empty a lot, I think, because people they assume it's, outside dining for somebody, and there are always a bunch of restaurants around there. So I would urge us to maybe put signage so that people know it's public space, and I think, once people know it's public space, it'll get good use. And I appreciate them very much, and I think they look fabulous. So great job. And I'm very impressed, even though you're sort of sounding a little concerned about filling that one position. I'm really impressed there's only one position.
Yes,
Because
thank you so
a couple of
much.
months ago, there was a long list. And so I commend you for that as well.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren.
Anyone else?
Jane has a question.
I do. Amelia, I want to echo what Lauren said. I mean, it's amazing you only have one position and you've done wonderful work. The thing I just wanted to ask you, and this came up I'm on the Brookline's Green Space Alliance, and one of the things that came up was the traffic, the little traffic areas where there might be a little small triangle and somebody's responsible for, maybe the plantings there. And then they look pretty bad if they're not done. And sometimes those have been members of the Green Space Alliance, and sometimes that's been open space. And I guess my question to you is, who's, you might not have an answer for this because you are still relatively new, but whose ultimate responsibility is that? Is it really the Friends group that should be maintaining those? And how do we work better together as Friends groups to work better with Park and Rec to solve that problem?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jane. My understanding is that any of the traffic islands within our town would be parks and open space taking care of it. And as you mentioned, a lot of times they're local friends groups, or even like in some cases, local residents who volunteer to take care of the island. And, you know, in that case, like we work in partnership with those individuals or friends groups. And there was recently one case where one resident reached out and, you know, said, expressed interest to plant some pollinator plants in a smaller traffic island. And, you know, Parks and Space Division worked with them to, well, hasn't happened yet, but we're working to provide like any materials or compost and mulch, you know, so we do, you know, provide resources like when anyone expresses interest.
Okay, they, because it's almost comical. There's one on Warren, and I want to get this Warren and Heath, and it says maintained by the Chestnut Hill Garden Club. And if you saw what it looked like, you'd say, well, the Chestnut Hill Garden Club needs to go under because it's just not doing a very good job.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but that being said, I was like, and I don't know if that was like one individual, you know, like two people, I don't know what it was. But I've heard that, you know, and it came up again on Green Space Alliance last night, and I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting, like who is ultimately responsible. So, so just a question, and it gives me good feedback for the group. So thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Lauren, you have your hand up?
Yes, no, this is intentional. Jane's comment triggered something I wanted to ask. I understand that Parks and Open Space is responsible for all the school playgrounds.
That's right.
But I'm thinking, what about, so the gardens at the Ridley School? There are these little garden plots, and there's a lot of them that goes along. So is that area, I mean, I guess my question is, where does the responsibility of the school department stop and where does yours begin when it comes to school grounds? Playgrounds is pretty clear cut, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But those other spaces, and the reason I ask is because, I mean, it's a question you know, I think we should know, but the answer to, but outside of the Ridley Gardens, there's a fence, and there were these mural panels put on the fence. I don't know if you were made aware of this. And it was my after-school program that did them, and they got put up on the fence years ago, and one fell down, and I asked the principal at the time, and she said, "Oh, that's Parks and Open Space." And I was surprised because this is why I'm asking the question. Like, first of all, the thing needs to be fixed, but more importantly, is it the entire school grounds that Parks and Open Space is responsible for? Does the school department have any responsibility? It's not clear to me. I know there was a big
Yeah.
issue this year or last year in these waiting areas in front of the school where parents wait. They were like sheets of ice. And I know there was a bit of a struggle, like who is responsible for this? And a bunch of us just ended up dumping salt because somebody fell and got hurt.
Oh, okay, that's very unfortunate because again, my understanding is that anything with the school ground, you know, the sidewalks and all the open spaces is Parks and Open Spaces, and in winter it's a collaboration with Highway and Sanitation. But having said that, I would want to clarify that typically schools have their garden spaces, as you mentioned, you know, where they do have raised beds or pollinator
Exactly.
gardens that they're taking care of. And in that case, you know, we have our contractors who do the weekly maintenance of the schools. Like we specifically tell them they're like these no-touch zones, and we do not do anything to those zones, except when the schools and, you know, the volunteer groups or whoever is running those gardens comes to us and specifically asks us, hey, can you help, you know, clean this space up, or can you help provide this, or, you know, mow or trim, whatever they need from us. Like that's when we go in and assist with the request.
Okay. I might write you off, you know, off the
Yeah.
line of just because there's some specific examples.
Yeah,
I'm
please
all
let me
for
know
everybody with
if,
it.
that'll be helpful to understand, like if there were any misunderstanding or miscommunication and how we can make that better.
Okay. Thanks.
You see any other hands, Millie?
No, not right now.
Okay, so you get to continue, I think, with your updates from the Park and Recreation subcommittees, right? Is that you? Or do you want
That
me to do
might
the
be
Griggs
one
part?
of you guys, yeah, who's, I think it might be the commissioner updates from different subcommittees they're on, right? I think that's the case.
Okay, but I think you mentioned Griggs Park.
I did briefly mention earlier in my update about the DRC, second DRC.
Right, and
So
that's where we are.
okay, did you want to add anything to that? I mean, yeah.
No, I think
Okay.
any of the other, Teresa has her hand raised.
Yeah, just a quick comment on the Griggs, because I know this has been a very active group of individuals who come to the meetings, and there was a really well and completed survey, I believe, on the park. One thing I would just recommend for everybody is that we are regularly posting updates about the project and the survey on our digital platforms as much as possible. I know that there was a lot of signage about the first kickoff meeting, and then the like QR codes for the survey, but I'm not sure if you're not actively walking to the park, if you would know about them. So, making sure people are aware of when the September meeting is would be really helpful. And then also for future design in a minute, for future design park surveys, just posting them on the website would be really helpful. Just because I'm not sure I knew about the survey in advance of it actually being closed down.
Oh, do you mean the first survey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, just a recommendation on
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. That's helpful to understand. Because again, like in the second meeting, we did an online polling survey, which we're not opening up, beyond that DRC meeting. But the third meeting, DRC meeting, that's when we are hoping that the survey will stay on for a little bit longer. So it's a really good feedback for that. So we'll make sure when it's posted, when the QR code, like when someone goes to the survey, we'll make sure to provide the end date.
That would be
Thank you
great.
so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, and I think just broadcasting it out in
Yeah.
various ways, because there was a lot for the commission members who were not there. There was a lot of disgruntled community members at the Griggs Park meeting, and a lot of people saying that we should discount the survey and this, and just a lot of feedback on that. So just to whatever extent we can cover our bases at the beginning, with distributing it and being clear about the meetings and, everything, I think would benefit us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Teresa.
And I don't think we have any other updates on subcommittees or other committees that we as commissioners serve on right now. So, any other business?
May I just ask a question? What is the status of the Green Dog Program Committee, and when we might begin to meet and hear more about that? Because, yes,
Good question.
Yeah, Jane, yes, that's a great question and something we're thinking about actively. So the last task for the Green Dog Subcommittee was to run that survey. So our hope is that in August, like one of the first tasks like we need to do right now is, because it's been so long, to make sure that everyone who was in the subcommittee is still interested in serving. So we'll do that. And then the next plan is to put together the analysis of what we learned from the survey and present that to the subcommittee. And, and then there's going to be other subsequent meetings to kind of say like, okay, now based on the survey analysis, here are a few options that we can think about. So I would say starting summer and to fall, you'll see a lot of communication and activity from our end. So it's going to be starting up soon.
Okay, great, thank you. And then I have another question, and I get asked this a lot. And one of the reasons is the Baldwin Playground has kind of old equipment, and people are like, when's that up for review? And I know we're on a cycle. I just don't know how we publicly know what the cycle is of when someone's coming up. So I was just curious about that. If you had any information on that, or could share any insights that you have on that type of
Yeah,
thing.
we are currently actively working on our CIP project. So I will, Jane, I don't have that information with me right now, but let me look into that and I'll follow up with you.
Yeah, I think it's a question I hear is like, why do we, this is a crazy question in my mind, but I shouldn't say that. I hear, why do we always, why are we always redoing our parks? And they are on a cycle, and that is kind of set by Massachusetts state law. There is a reason, we just don't go in and do
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So I just wondered, I guess my comment is like, if we knew, like, it's been 20 years, it's been X
Yes,
years since this park's been renewed, and
yes.
they're on the list and we'll get to it. But I think sometimes what I find interesting is some people are shocked by their park needing to be, renewed or refreshed, and other people are like, we never get renewed, and they kind of weren't renewed so frequently. So I'm just,
Right,
it's like how we like inform the public that yes, we're aware of it, and
right,
Massachusetts law that sort of helps us to sort of establish that, and this is the.
right.
So that's kind of what I'm asking for, if that makes sense, just to be transparent about it.
Right. And again, like when we update our CIP projects and put together that full CIP description and report, and all the projects that are in CIP for the next 5 or 6 years, and the out years, like all the descriptions, like in the descriptions, like we do provide like, okay, this park was updated in 1998 or 2005, like, so we do provide that. But if you're thinking of like, okay, do we have a list for all the parks and open spaces in town, like where the when it was last renovated? So I feel like that information does live, I want to say, in the parks and open space plan. And I know that there's a database somewhere out there, but I know it's hard to find information, like, because it's just like so buried in.
Yeah.
But again, like similar to the your question on Baldwin Playground, again, like if there's any question on someone like trying to find like when it was last renovated, again, please feel free to shoot us an email, and we're happy to share that information.
Okay. I'll just take that with you offline, then. That's perfect. All right, thank you.
But I would like to clarify one thing. I don't think it's state law that says we have to renovate our parks or playgrounds every so often. They get worn out. We have, I think, both the town landscape architects are certified playground safety inspectors. They get worn out. We want to replace the equipment before it becomes unsafe. And no, on Griggs Park, we can see where the metal posts are rusting out and stuff. So I think more than state law, it's that, if you had 30 kids every day in your living room playing, you'd have to replace things. So things wear out, they break, asphalt over time disintegrate, everything just wears out. So it's more the need to keep the park safe and attractive. I don't think there's a state law saying
there's
you
a state
have to.
guidance on it, not to, whatever, it's stating that I think it's all part of that Article 97, the infamous Article 97 about the state, about parks and whatever. So anyway,
Okay.
yeah, but it's more, I think, the transparency of why we like how often they're done, and it is about an every 20-year cycle, and then who's in the cycle, and then if they're not don't see their park listed, like how do they then do something about that?
Right.
Often being we never get renovated when in fact they might have just been renovated.
Yeah, Jane, and I also want to add to this that our landscape architects like do go through all the playgrounds, the public playgrounds and school grounds every year. sometime like in spring, and based on that is like what we update our CIP projects, which will be presented to you, by the way, next time.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Hearing no other questions, comments?
Can I make one comment? I'm sorry, guys. We're there. I just want to go on what Millie just said. I just want to let the commission know that in the next meeting, so August, we're going to be discussing the CIP project, or CIP schedule for both parks, open space, and recreation. So I just want to plant that seed to make sure that we are all present, so that we can all discuss what we're planning to do in the future.
Thanks, Tim. We've finished ahead of time. We're at shortly after 7:30, and we had adjourning at 8, but I thought we had good discussions and very nice reports, very clear, and really
Excellent
keep us
reports.
informed. So thank you, Millie and Tim, very much, and thanks to all the commissioners and our associate commissioner for good questions and good attention. So do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Carol, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Lauren. I think I have to call the roll again. Carol,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Jim,
Bye.
and I also say yes to the adjournment. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again in August.
Great.
Thank you very much.